Good morning, children. This is E. Nagendra Rao, TGTPS, Achampeta. Today, we will discuss about the topic salts, family of salts, pH of salts, from the lesson acids, bases, and salts. Salt. Salt is formed by the reaction of an acid with a base. This process is known as neutralization. అంటే మనకు సాల్ట్ ఎలా ఫామ్ అవుతుంది అంటే కనుక యాసిడ్ బేస్ తో రియాక్ట్ అయితే మనకు సాల్ట్ అనేది ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. ఇక్కడ మనం ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుంటే HCl అనే యాసిడ్ NaOH సోడియం హైడ్రాక్సైడ్ అనే బేస్ తో రియాక్ట్ అయితే NaCl అంటే సోడియం క్లోరైడ్ అనే సాల్ట్ ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. అలాగే దాంతో పాటు వాటర్ అనేది ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. అలాగే కొన్ని ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఆఫ్ సాల్ట్స్ కనుక తీసుకుంటే పొటాషియం సల్ఫేట్, సోడియం సల్ఫేట్, కాల్షియం సల్ఫేట్, మెగ్నీషియం సల్ఫేట్, కాపర్ సల్ఫేట్, సోడియం క్లోరైడ్, సోడియం నైట్రేట్, సోడియం కార్బోనేట్. ఫ్యామిలీ ఆఫ్ సాల్ట్స్ అంటే ఈ సాల్ట్స్ యొక్క ఫ్యామిలీస్ ని మనం డివైడ్ చేసే ముందు కొన్ని సాల్ట్స్ యొక్క పేర్లు అలాగే వాటి యొక్క ఫార్ములాస్ తెలుసుకుందాం. K2SO4 పొటాషియం సల్ఫేట్, Na2SO4 సోడియం సల్ఫేట్, calcium CaSO4 calcium sulfate, MgSO4 magnesium sulfate, CuSO4 copper sulfate, NaCl sodium chloride, NaNO3 sodium nitrate, Na2CO3 sodium carbonate, NH4Cl ammonium chloride. Depending upon the positive or negative radicals present in the salts, these salts are classified into families. For example, the salts having the same positive radicals are classified into one family, and the salts having the same negative radicals are classified into another family. For example, here we are taking sodium chloride and sodium sulfate. Both the salts are having the same positive ions sodium. Therefore, these are classified as sodium salts. Similarly, if we consider sodium chloride and potassium chloride, both these salts have the same negative ions, chloride ions. Therefore, these are classified into chloride salts, లేదా chloride families. pH of the salts. To know the pH of the salts, first of all, we collect some sample salts like sodium chloride, aluminum chloride, copper sulfate, sodium acetate, ammonium chloride, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and sodium carbonate. Dissolve these salts in a distilled water in different test tubes. Check the action of the solution with a litmus papers and the pH of the solutions using pH papers. That means universal indicator papers. The results of the litmus and pH tests are tabulated as below. The sodium chloride does not change the litmus and its pH will be 7, as the sodium chloride is formed by the action of HCl and NaOH. The nature of the salt will be neutral. Aluminum chloride changes blue litmus to red, which will have a pH from range of 2 to 3. Aluminum chloride is formed by the reaction of hydrochloric acid and aluminum hydroxide. The resultant salt will have an acidic nature. The copper sulfate turns blue litmus to red, which will have a pH of 4.5. The copper sulfate is formed by the reaction of H2SO4 and copper hydroxide. The resultant copper sulfate will have acidic nature. The salt sodium acetate will turn red litmus to blue, which will have a pH of 9.54. Sodium acetate is formed by the reaction of an acid, acetic acid, and a base, sodium hydroxide. The nature of the salt formed sodium acetate will be basic. Ammonium chloride turns blue litmus to red, which will have a pH range of 4 to 6, in between 4 to 6. Ammonium chloride is formed by the reaction of acid HCl and the base ammonium hydroxide. The nature of the salt ammonium chloride will be acidic. Sodium carbonate will turn red litmus to blue. The pH will be at 11.6. Sodium carbonate is formed by the reaction of carbonic acid and the base sodium hydroxide. The nature of the salt, sodium carbonate, will be basic. And the last one, sodium bicarbonate, turns red litmus to blue, which will have a pH of 8.27, which is formed by the reaction of carbonic acid and sodium hydroxide. The nature of the salt will be basic. Here, both the sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate are formed by the reaction of carbonic acid and sodium hydroxide. But the difference is the reaction conditions. That means the concentrations and the temperature. By the results obtained in the above table, we can confirm that strong acids reacts with strong base to form neutral salts with a pH value 7, and the strong acids reacts with weak base will form acidic salts with a pH value less than 7, and strong base reacts with weak acid to form basic salts with pH more than 7. If both the acid and base are weak, the pH depends upon the relative strengths of acids and base. Whichever is the strong, it will show its property. అంటే మనకి యాసిడ్ స్ట్రాంగ్ స్ట్రెంగ్త్ ఎక్కువగా ఉంటే వీక్ బేస్ కంటే కూడా మనకి ఎసిడిక్ సాల్ట్ ఫామ్. అలాగే వీక్ యాసిడ్ అయి స్ట్రాంగ్ బేస్ అయితే అంటే కంపారిటివ్ గా మనకి దాని యొక్క ప్రాపర్టీని మనకి చూపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ లిజనింగ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.